Hi, we're SBR Sports Picks. We are the odds couple. I'm Peter Loshak. He's Mike Brenner. Today is Tuesday, March 7th. Mike Brenner, we're in the midst of conference championship week, and we're going to wrap up our seeding trends videos right now that we've been doing, giving some good information, gotten some good responses.
Yes.
I've seen on the comments on YouTube. So thanks for that. And right now we're going to take a look at the 10-7 matchups. Now this is a very interesting one, Mike Brenner, because I already talked about how the 11-6 and the 12-5 matchups have basically been 50-50 as far as brackets are concerned, as far as seeds advancing. As far as the 7-10 matchups are concerned, Mike Brenner, over the last 6 years, I'm not talking about ATS right now, I'm talking about just the seeds advancing. How many 10 seeds do you think advanced out of the 24 games?
Wow, I would probably say 10.
Actually, only 8.
Wow, I was close.
That's
though.
right. It was close. It was close, but it's interesting because the 11-6 is 50-50. I actually think more 11 seeds have advanced.
There's a big
and the 12-5 is very 50-50ish as well. But the 7 seeds actually tend to advance more 16 and 8 straight up over the past 6 years. Although last year it was just 2 and 2. From an ATS perspective, again 50-50. Dogs and faves 12 and 12.
That's interesting
ATS
as well. 50-50 on ATS.
You do get a good amount of fave covers. Fave margin covers, I've noticed. So if you identify a favorite that you really like here,
and of course these lines, they shrink down quite a bit. When you got 10-7, you're not going to have any large spreads. I mean, there may be the occasional one.
Well, no, not necessarily. Each of the past 2 years, there's been one spread. Iowa Temple was -7.
Okay.
Wichita
you don't
State,
see anything near a double digit, though, is what I'm getting at.
No,
It'd be
but
hard to see a 10 or 11 or something
well,
like
actually,
that.
like the last 2 years, the 11-6, like I mentioned in our video, in the 11-6 matchups, all 8 of the games had a spread of 3.5 or lower. But we've had last year there was a 4-point spread, a 7-point spread.
It was all over the place.
2 years ago there was a 5.5-point spread, a 6.5-point spread. So it really kind of matters. It really it can be all over the place. But as far as pure ATS value is concerned, dogs and faves are even. And
again, as projected wise, there's some interesting teams that could fall into these categories. With 10 and 7s.
That's right. As opposed to other seeds where there are boring teams that can fall in. Okay, but there are a good amount of fave margin covers that I've seen. So if you identify a fave that you think has significant value, it might be worth it to sell points because there's a little bit more of a tendency for faves to cover by margins when they cover. Now, once again, just like with 11-6, when we have a 10 seed that's the favorite, they do tend to advance and tend to cover. That's happened 7 times over the past 6 years, and the 10 seed, when they've been a favorite, has won outright 5 times, and the favorite is 4-3 ATS over the past 6 years.
That's interesting, and that's what, Pete, I meant to ask you too, because one of my Twitter followers was asking with totals when it comes to March Madness, do you find the time to dive in heavily like you are now as far as projected wise? Do you see a big variance in the 10-7 as compared to the 8 and 9 or the 11?
No, totals, it has a lot more to do with just the teams involved for sure. I don't think there's although I've never looked into it, but I'm almost certain that there's no
just had to ask
correlation. So last year there were actually 3 instances where there was a 7 seed that was an underdog to a 10 seed, and two of those 10 seeds advanced and covered. So it's not going to happen every time, but there's a tendency for 10 seeds once again if they're a favorite over the
that's something you have to keep an open mind with.
10 seed is a favorite over the 7. They tend to advance and to cover. All right, so that's it as far as general seeding trends. In general, look for the 7 seed to advance, but if the 10 seed is the favorite, look for them to advance and look for them to cover as well, and look for lean towards fave margin coverage. If you have a fave that you like, maybe think about that one covering by a margin. As far as the projected 7s from Joe Lunardi as of March 6th, Oklahoma State, Maryland, South Carolina, and Creighton. Are the projected 7s. So
exactly what I got. And you know what? I look at that and I see a team like South Carolina. They're going to be vulnerable. That could be a team where they won't get that, the outright cover. I don't see that happening. And now Marquette, and I said it last week, look out for this team. That could be an interesting team that could just pull an outright. I mean,
they're projected as one of the 10s.
Oh, I know that. But they could literally, they're one I could think could cover a full spread plus. I mean, literally go out and just blow somebody out depending who they're with. But
so if you look at the projected 10 seeds as of March 6th, any of these teams I could see being a favorite. Providence, Seton Hall, Marquette, and Michigan State. Michigan State could easily be
Michigan
a favorite.
State, no doubt about it. And that would be one I would trust at that because of the level. Tom Izzo's been there. Now, I mean, Oklahoma State though would be interesting, Pete, if they sneak in there. I've heard that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like if Michigan State plays Oklahoma State and Michigan State is like the 10 seed and Michigan State is like a small favorite, that might be a situation where I'm going to look for Michigan State to maybe look for a margin cover on that one.
Exactly, and cash on that as well. Now, Providence Providence. I don't know. I don't have a good feel on Providence. And I even had someone say that Creighton could fit into this category, but that's a team I'd be careful for. They have not regrouped. They have not at all regrouped since losing their high scorer, their point guard. But that's interesting. What are your thoughts on Maryland?
On Maryland, gosh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into it. I mean, obviously they're a team with a lot of uncertainty because they've got Trimble and then some uncertainty, some questions around him. So when I look at these groups, the groups of teams projected as 10s and around, and the groups projected as 7s and around, even though historically the 7s have advanced. Last year it was 2-2 for 10s and 7s advancing, and I'm looking at like a lot of 10s that might be very threatening.
I think they might dominate this year, and it wouldn't surprise me at all, Pete. And I mean that. And, just from the looks of it. And again, these are projected, but I guarantee Joe's pretty close to nailing it. So.
And also, all the lines that I'm quoting are closing lines. So a lot of times, if you have these closing lines where the spread is 1, sometimes the other team could have been a favorite. But these are all closing lines that I'm using as of right now. And I'm thinking we might see a decent amount of 10s advancing and maybe some line value with, once again, 10s as favorites over 7s and with some betting value with those because Providence, Seton Hall, Marquette, and then the other teams that might drop or rise to 10s, Vandy, VCU, Michigan, Northwestern, Arkansas, Syracuse, all very strong teams, right?
Yeah, I could see VCU and Vandy definitely having the opportunity to rise like that as well. You know what? And I think right now Wichita State's a team you better look out for because they might be fitting in somewhere in that category.
I mean, Wichita State right now is projected as an 8. If Wichita State was actually a rose up to the 7, they'd be one of the teams that I wouldn't want to be betting against.
Exactly.
So,
that was my point. Exactly, buddy. Yeah.
All right.
Pete, breaking it down, baby.
A lot of vulnerable 7s. The entire group of 7s projected by Joe Lunardi right now, Oklahoma State, Maryland, South Carolina, and Creighton, I see as all vulnerable.
Yes,
not really.
There's no doubt about it.
No doubt about it. Sounds good, Mike Brenner. Any final words? Let's wrap it up.
Well, let's just wrap it up with this. So you guys bet responsible. It's March Madness, but don't go crazy on your damn bets, all right? Just stay focused. We hope you enjoyed the video. Hey, don't miss out on the best basketball betting content available on YouTube. Click our logo button on the bottom left to subscribe. And as always, guys, give us a like and drop your comments below because we want to hear from you. Visit our website to take advantage of all our free products.